So coming up next, we have Mike Scott. He's from Cleveland, Ohio, and got his start fishing in down east Maine on a lobster boat. And he's since moved to Port Townsend, Washington, where he builds boats and writes in his small cabin in the woods. So please welcome Mike Scott.
All right. Hey, everybody. Let's give it up one more time for Alec, yeah? That was awesome. If I could only figure out how to work this mic. Okay. All right, so let's start this night off with a little poem called Radio. It's kind of about my time in down east Maine, fishing on lobster boats, so here goes. The steady hum of a diesel engine, like an asthmatic industrial purr. The honey morning light filling and spilling the cups of the tops of the ocean, and static coming through the radio. Disjointed words, and then, "Good morning, dear. Andy, are you on here?" "Yeah, Rose, go ahead," said the man. I smile and pick through my traps, measure the legal lobsters, rebaited them, and we're off. "Yeah, gonna need about 6 hard ones for Walter and Tammy tonight. You got that?" "And yeah." There was a quaver in both of their voices. Over 170 years between the two of them. They were married in 1947. The father of the bride played the accordion as they walked down the aisle. This box bubbling with magnetic waves is the joining fabric of the lobster fishing community. A radio lies aboard every boat, most kitchens, and some living rooms. It is a gathering place in the home. The most important news is that of the lobster, that of the home, the hearth. When things go wrong on the water and your heart leaps, it takes courage to call for help, but there is never a boat too far to reach. All listen with intent. And though the life and nature of this work thrive on independence, grit, tenacity, all are equal on the platform of the crackling and hum. A podium for the troubled, a respite for the weary and frustrated. The solace of community. Amos Hutchinson's boat, Hazel Lee, was found 4 nautical miles south-southeast of Sheep's Ledges last year, steadily making circles, throttle fully goosed. No souls on board. I saw him, his wife, their twin daughters, at the 4th of July parade months before. The summer sun glared and glinted off of his daughter Hazel's cornflower hair. She, too shy to say hello, buried her head in her dad's ruddy shoulder, squirming. Lee, her twin, eyes never leaving her mother, always looking up. He clapped me on the shoulder, "Good to see you, bud," and cooed to his small yearling. They walked past in the opposite direction, with lunch on their mind. Slack rope from a pair of traps caught Amos's boot, and Hazel Lee has an open stern for traps to easily slide into the water. Though he chose to fish alone, the community stands steadfast to the family, to the girl with cornflower hair, forever. And we all must be cautious and take every popping, staticky preamble as our truth, as our code, written, of course, by us. I'm thinking about the Hazel Lee doing donuts while I'm measuring lobsters and bracing myself up against the bulwarks. An extra muscle group is keeping my boots on deck. Just then, garbled voices over the radio with a local radio station in the background come through. "Yeah, well, don't a cold beer on a hot summer morning taste just like a mother?" My captain, a grade respected sage of these waters, cracks a smile. I release the tension in my muscles and let my head rock back in laughter. Skipper follows suit. The captain starts a big, wide turn. We're getting ready to set this pair of traps. With a wry smile, still laughter beneath the diesel roar, he makes a motion with his crooked right pointer finger from his shoulder to the sea. Let her go. Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to take a second real quick to give a couple shout outs. One to a strange and awesome group of humans who came out to support me. I think they're in the back over there somewhere. Yeah, wow, look at them all. Jeez. And also another quick shout out to my mom who flew here from Cleveland, Ohio to watch me and support me. So everyone give it up for Holly. Yeah. I don't know where she is, but she's very nervous. All right. Oh, boy. Okay. This next one here is called The Good Life. A heavy autumn mist sat gently above the water, climbing as it reached the shore, settling in the evergreen canopy. Still before dawn, I tug lines on the back deck for tightness, retie knots, all with coffee in hand. And then back in the galley, the coffee pot burbles, a respite for the sleepy. In a jolt, skiff man Matt comes flying down the ladder. Hey man, that coffee ready? We're gonna whack them and stack them today, boys and girls, yeah! Sprung awake and quite annoyed, the two remaining crew drag themselves over to the coffee pot while Matt cuts in line and sort of shoulders them out of the way and pours up his own. Fish scales in your undies tonight, boys and girls. Hooey! Spilling coffee all the while, he climbs back up to the wheelhouse and out of our hair. The routine of the work with my crewmates got to be pretty fast. Knots tied, on to the next task. Make a mistake, could be your last. Thumbs up, let me do it. And a lot of these motions throughout the day. Let her go, no whistling. Vision in action, they say. There are times in this life when you plan, think, weigh your options, hell, make a PowerPoint, and decide. And then there are times when you act. When gear is coming on board on a seiner and you feel the boat being pulled down into the sea, the weight in the net, too much for the power block. It's like standing on a mountainside while the rocks give way beneath you. Your heart drops to the bottom of your boots, the taste of the sea on your tongue. The fight is on. Skipper battles the school with the power block. This is the closest I will ever get to combat. Hydraulic squeals replace the gunfire, but there is no substitute for that deafening adrenaline. So often we fight for scant returns, but that is not today. Before me was an enormous trough of salmon, the entire back deck loaded to the rails, waiting for somebody to pull the plug and send them down the drain for the long, cold sleep. I jumped off the pile and started trudging through the trough. I fell to my knees, started groping for the hatch. Hands on the aluminum deck, I needed more purchase. I was going under. I buried my head in the trough, mouth closed, and became part of the school of chum that was enclosed on the back deck. At last, I hit the hatch, grabbed with all I had, and pulled the friggin' plug. The fish around me in the trough started to circle the drain and go into the hold. And I emerged to my feet and opened my eyes to a surprise. It was skiff man Matt diving at me midair, determined to celebrate. He tackled me into the trough. Hell yeah, buddy! What'd I tell ya? Whack and stack! He threw a series of punches into my midsection. I loved it. The other two crew members, all of us laughing now, dove off of the net pile and on top of this massive trough. Skipper looked on, proud. lit a cigarette, started climbing the ladder back up to the top house, and looked back at us. Welcome to the good life, boys and girls. You earned it. The rest of the day is light. We didn't care. We were all still in a fishy afterglow. Still am. After a circus getting through the locks, we make it back to the slip, and the terminal is quiet. Guy lines clanging in the wind, far-off buoys sound off steadily, the metronomes of the waterways. And there is a special brand of silence the instant after an engine is shut down to end a long day. A half second of something deeper than silence, a green flash of peace. Skipper and skiffman Matt departed, home to the kids. Have at least 2 for me in there. And don't you go bragging now. That is not who we are, said skiffman Matt. Skipper nods, waves. Hell of a day, people. Hell of a day. Me and the 2 crew who jumped into the trough head out to the bars, of course. We meet up with friends from other boats, other slimy, lying, happy fishing folk. Taking charge as we do, we rearrange the tables to seat about 24. Screeching wood on concrete floors, smell of stale beer, that sticky stale beer, and pinball machines filled the air. In talking about the day's catch, all of us are mum. Not bad, we say. Yeah, not as hot as a few weeks ago, said I. Couple decent sets, but nothing special. My most convincing shrug. Yeah, well, said a friend, that's the way it goes when you wear the rubber clothes. We agree. We start to raise our glasses and salute each other and the day when, hey, hang on, Mike. Is that a scale in your beard? There's like a bunch of scales in your beard. Everyone slowly cranes their head at me. I don't know what you're talking about. My crewmate butts in and goes, hey, oh, Mike, that was from when you had your head buried in the trough and you were like looking for the hatch on that 25,000-pound set. You don't remember that? Everyone now slowly turns to her. I start laughing. I just start laughing. I didn't know what else to do. Laughing desperately. She catches herself and joins in the laughter, everyone now sharing in the joke. That were true, she said. We'd all be buying everyone drinks tonight. She found my eyes. I shook my head and smiled. We all raised our glasses to the good life. Thank you. 2 minutes to carry one more. All right, so I got one more coming for you. This one takes us back to Maine. If you couldn't tell, I like doing that accent, so here it comes. Oh man. Okay. This is a story about a guy who didn't want to go to war, so he ran away around the Civil War, and here it goes. My old man's favorite story concerns a man from Deer Isle who was a draft-dodging fisherman. He heard about the Civil War and quickly hatched himself a plan. His name was Marshall Hayes, and a decent man to boot. Had a wife and 2 children, but this was a solo escape route. Now true, some men feared death and some men poverty, but Marshall Hayes feared battlefields, so he fled to an island on the sea. Well, I'll just hop in my Whitehall, he thought, and row till I can't do it no more. By then I'll find me an island. There I'll put my small boat ashore. A day and a half I rowed, showing no want to go back. My mind was made up for setting, to build traps, a stove, and a shack. Oh, and that island will be rich with trees and shoals in which to set pots. But boy, do I feel some remorse, leaving my wife with the tots. But I ain't gonna go matching for no Joshua Chamberlain. I'd rather live by myself on an island than end up dead and slain. And so time matched on, I cut plenty of trees. Hell, I nearly cut them all. When I got there, it was a wooded isle. Now she's practically bald. I fished and hunted for food ashore my own new sovereign nation. And to go back to mainland life, there was only dwindling temptation. If the Union had won, I'd be labeled a coward. Not to mention what the Rebs would do. The wife will have found another. What I expected to do. 5 summers and counting now. Who knows what came of the war? If Johnny Reb pulled it out, Christ, they're Confederates on that shore. Boy, I sure would like a whiskey and a Christly big old meal. Friggin' sick of eating lobster, pretending that it's veal. Now I know I'm not dreaming, but what is that over there? What is that I see? Why, it's an old down east river dory who's rowing towards me. Ahoy, says the oarsman, waves his cap in the air. Well, Christ, I was frozen in place. All I could do was stare. Nice outfit, said the oarsman. And I glanced down at myself. I was only wearing a fox-skin vest and an oak branch knife belt. In this instant, I came to and knew that it was time to return to Deer Isle and cower and face my crime. Well, did the Union win the war? I asked with a yell from the rocks. Yes, Marshal, we did. Where the hell did you find a fox? I recognized the oarsman named Marvin J. McHugh. He tipped his hat, said, Hiya, Marshal. Your wife's been looking for you. Thanks, everybody.